Welcome to the Daily Collegiate Football video. It's Iowa week. I'm joined by Audrey Snyder and Brendan Monahan. And the first week of Big Ten play for Penn State. A lot of storylines this week. Probably the biggest one is this is really the first time we get to see what kind of team Penn State is. I think everyone coming into the season thought they'd be 3-1 heading into this game. They lost to Alabama, had 3 relatively easy games aside from it. I mean, how important is this game in the sense of giving Penn State an identity, Brendan?
It's very important. They really came out against Temple towards the second half with the defense getting tackles and Robert Bolden's 96-yard drive. So this is very important in the sense that they need to come out against a big-time team and prove these things. So in that sense, it really is, a prime-time game in every sense.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bolden. This is his second time being on national TV, his second time being on the road in a hostile environment. Audrey, how do you expect him to fare? The first time, he wasn't terrible, but he threw 2 picks and he didn't really get anything going offensively.
It was the same thing, with the red zone, kind of like what we saw last week against Temple. Same thing, they struggled, and it could be a lot of this, the same this week. But what I'm more concerned with Rob Bolden is how this offensive line holds up in front of him. With Lou Eliades out, Chima Okoli's in there, and Adrian Claiborne has been the talk of the week by far. There's no doubt what kind of player this defensive end is. And this Iowa front four, Joe Paterno even went out and said, this is one of the best front fours he's seen. So, I mean, this offensive line is going to have a tough day ahead of them.
Yeah, and it's kind of a catch-22 because if you double-team Adrian Claiborne, they have probably the best defensive line in the country. Yeah. They've got Broderick Binns on the other side, Carl Klug and Mike Daniels in the middle. It's a very, very good defensive line, and it's not exactly the week you want to be reshuffling the offensive line, is it?
No, not really. But I guess that's why it has to be when a steady guy like Lou Eliades goes down, and Chima, he's just switching over from defense. In the spring, he switched to offensive line, so it's really not a good week for this, especially with, Royster's struggles are obviously behind, but can you keep that going with the offensive line how it is right now? So it's just not a good week.
Yeah, and the defense has really struggled too. The defense has struggled with tackling and that kind of thing. Last week in the second half against Temple, there was none of that. And, I mean, that's one of the things. Is that going to continue, or is that a thing of the past, those struggles tackling? And we're going to find out probably this weekend.
Yeah, the defense, they said it was, change in attitude when they came out second half. And you saw Stupar was running all over the place, so was Mowdy. It looked like a completely different defense in the second half. And it showed after giving up 13 points in the first quarter, the way they were able to bounce back. And, if they come out with a mindset like that right away, it's going to be a good ball game.
Yeah, the secondaries look good too. They haven't exactly had tough tests the last 2 weeks, like Ricky Stanzi this week, the Iowa quarterback. But they've really played well. Suke had 2 interceptions last week. They have 5 picks the last 2 weeks. Let's get to some predictions. Brendan, give me your score prediction, and what's Penn State going to have to do if they're going to win the game?
21-13. I'm going to go Hawkeyes. To win the game, Robert Bolden really has to step up. I mean, this offense, they're not really going to be able to run too well against them just because of the front four. So Bolden's going to have to step up and sort of, not be a freshman quarterback. Step up, be a senior-like quarterback, and make some big throws. And I'm thinking maybe he'll get a touchdown in there.
Audrey?
I'm going 24-17 with Iowa. Like Brendan touched on about Bolden, stepping up. I'm more concerned if he'll be able to step up into the pocket. I mean, with this defense that Iowa has, it could be a tough day for him. We saw him take a lot of big hits last week, and this is really a test for the offensive line. And if they can hold up and get something going, get Rob comfortable, get that running game going a little bit, it's going to be a good game, but I'm sticking with Iowa.
Yeah, I guess none of us are picking Penn State this weekend. I have the Nittany Lions losing the game 17-9, and I really just think the Iowa defensive line, like I said earlier, is too good. The only way Penn State's going to win is if they use some deception, some screen passes, something a little bit different, because on paper, Iowa's defense is much better than Penn State's offense, and that's really going to show.
Maybe a reverse, like we saw in Alabama.
Yeah, that means Shawnee Kersey went for 24 yards there. Davon Smith, they got him outside on the flat.
Use
the speed, use the skills. Don't necessarily use the typical Penn State ground and pound. But that's it for Audrey and for Brendan. I'm AJ. Thanks for watching.